Here we go, Ty. We're in, mate. Well, good morning. You join me on the Great Ouse. I'm out after chub, and as you can see, the rod's bent, he says as he falls down the bank. We've just literally got our first bite, and it's trying to put me in the reeds at the minute. So if I go a bit quiet, I apologise. As they do, I always try and get in the margin bank, in the foliage. So I think we're clear. Come on. It's putting up a good account for itself. It's doing all it can. There we go. Great start. There we go. Great Ouse chub. I've come out early this morning with met Ty. I've dragged him all the way down from his home, and we're out on the Ouse and we're fishing for chub. Been here, I don't know, half an hour, probably 40 minutes or so. Got myself sorted out, got the rods out, and I actually missed a bite. I'm not shy to say, I missed a bite. But it's just walloped over again, and as you can see, we've got Mr. Chubby Chub. Yeah, we'll get this one back and see whether we can get another one. How's that? Right, so I'm out on the Ouse, I'm fishing for chub, and I'm using a tactic that you don't hear or see all that often as a mainstay for bait, and it's the good old-fashioned luncheon meat. You can do as much or as little as you like with luncheon meat, you know, oils or powders and what have we. And what's come to light from us just lately are the new meat cubers. Now there's two sizes of meat cubers, 12mm and 23mm, and it's made sort of accessing or prepping your meat then, if you like, really easy to do. And if you're like me, I do come out with mixed sizes of meat, because you never know that, you know, some days, or if you get higher water on, coloured water, then sort of mind games start playing tricks, and you want to use a bigger piece of meat, a bit more blatant, a bit more obvious. And there's other times, if the river's either sort of low and clear or fining down, you use a smaller piece of meat. So with these two beauties available now, you know, you can really mix it up a little bit and sort of, you know, do half a tin of one and half a tin of another, if you like. But what we like to do is, I mean, I use, and I have done for years, it's just chili powders, chili flakes. Off eBay, somewhere like that, originally these were from. And what I do after I've cut the meat, and we'll go through the meat cuber in a minute, but once I've cut the meat down, all I simply do is get a bait box or one of the clear sealable sort of like sandwich type bags, and place my meat into the bag. I sprinkle a good dosing of the chili flakes and powder into the bag, shake it up a little bit. If I need to add a little bit more, then I add a little bit more. And what you end up with is real spiced up. I put it in the fridge. I usually do this the night before. I mean, it's perfectly okay as well if you freeze it. But I usually, you know, like I've come out today, I actually done this lot last night, and I mix it all up, and I just place it in the fridge overnight. And as it's sort of like cooling down to fridge temperature, then it draws it in. It draws like a little bit of colour in, obviously the flavour, and this is quite hot chili powder to be fair, so it just sucks it all in. And as you can see there, you know, you get little specks of the powder on there as well. It's just a confidence thing, but say it's caught me so many chub over the last few seasons. It's just something that I stick to now when the chubbing comes round. So that's my preferred method, as opposed to the likes of more obvious chub fishing baits like cheese paste and bread. It just you know, if there's the odd barbel or carp about, even it opens up what you're fishing for. Although I am actually fishing for chub, it's just the way that I like to do things. Well, just literally putting a little bit of bait out with a catapult, and she's gone over again. Great. Just try and keep them away from these reeds as much as I dare. I've actually still got the other fish in the net. Get out, get out. Come on. I'm a feisty little chub. Yes. Well, there you go. Me and Ty were just standing there chatting life, really, and the rod's bounced into life, and there we go. Second chub in 2 casts. Very happy, and it's just a meat tactic. So, and again, I'll run through them. It's nothing rocket science about any of it, and it clearly works, as you can see. So there we go. We've got two chub in the bag. So as I said, I've got me 2 sizes of meat, small and large. But what I also like to do as a bit of freebie, I mean, today I'm fishing in this particular swim that we're in now. I'm fishing 2 rods because I've got ample room. So what I like to do generally on an upstream rod, if I am fishing 2 rods, I'll fish it on a feeder. And what I like to do with that, with me, I've got some basically very finely chopped portions of luncheon meat, which again I smash down either with something like a potato masher, or even a fork or a knife, and then just finely chop it. And that just gives me a little bit of loose feed to pop inside the feeder. And then what I do with I'll show you the feeder in a second, and what I do then with the feeder is I just plug the top of it. These are cheesy garlic pellets from Sonia Baits, and I just plug the top of the feeder. In fact, I'll show you that just now. So what I generally do, I've got some of me finely chopped meat. I've not actually flavoured this. I tend to only flavour my hook bait so they just stand out a little bit more, like the carp lads do, I suppose, sort of by glugging pop-ups and whatever, and just making your hook bait that centre of attraction. So with this, all I have added to this, I'll say, is a little bit of salt, because sometimes I'll put it in a PVA bag. So I add a little bit of salt before I leave home in that as well, and it just helps it sort of go against the PVA melting then, should we like, if I was using a little PVA bag of finely chopped meat. So what I do is place some meat into the feeder, And I don't generally pack it down too hard, but get some of the cheesy garlic pellets and just plug the top of the feeder. And that's what you end up with. So it's just a little parcel really of finely chopped freebies, and then your centre of attraction will be your larger or your spicier, zhushed up piece of meat. So that's me little cage feeder setup, and I actually fish this upstream generally. If I'm fishing 2 rods, I'll fish 1 rod on a straight lead, which I'll explain in a minute. But the feeder that I pack full of goodies, and if you like, just so that you get the odd little bit maybe getting washed down on the flow, I'll fish this on an upstream rod. And my upstream rods, I always fish on a little bolt. It's probably not everybody's cup of tea, but I fish it on a little, this is one of our small bolt and run kits. And the reason I do that is where I'm fishing it upstream and then pulling down tight to the rod tip and looking for a bounce back bite then, if you like, rather than a big looping lunge. I'm fishing for a bounce back, and sort of in my mind, fishing it on a bolt, I'm getting a more positive bite when things go slack, if that makes sense. So I'm fishing that on one of the small bolt and run kits. As you can see, I've got one of the tail rubbers there just to aid tangles. I've got an 8-pound Smoke Shield mono hook link on this one. Again, anti-tangle properties. It's tough as old boots. You know, I'm thinking when sort of chub are trying to dive into snags or into reed beds like they are today underneath me feet, you want something that's going to hold up. So there's my Smoke Shield hook link. Down at the business end, on this particular rig, I've got a size 10 grappler today on this one. I'm sort of fishing, well, I'm fishing the 12mm cubes of meat on this rod, and I've got a size 10 grappler hook, and then hopefully you can pick up on that. I'm still using one of the little tiny meat screws. These have been a firm favourite of mine for the last few seasons now because they're so easy, they're so adaptable. I'm not trying to leather a bait out into a big river like the Trent or the Severn. You know, my hometown rivers then, like the Ouse, if you like, majority of the fishing is fairly stable, slower moving. But these little meat screws, they allow me to swap and change as well between 2 sizes of bait if I wanted to. You know, if I wanted to put a big cube on there now, as long as the hook copes with it basically, or the size of the hook copes with it, I can put a big meat on, a big bit of meat on, or I can just scale right down to one of the 12mm sizes. So again, you know, I mean, say this is so easy. I've got a piece of me meat, and all I do is wind that down into the meat until it goes firm enough. So that is that. That's always fished on my upstream rod. So it sort of feeds me downstream rod then, if you like, just with little parcels of food gently going down the river. But yep, that is that rig, and I'll go through the other rig very shortly. Oh, Ty. Oh, just sitting there trying to, hey, just sitting there trying to tie a rig, and Ty's basically whacked me on the back of the head and said, mate, you got a bite. And here we are. I'm back in the water. I've got a chub trying to tuck me up. Oh, come on. Come on, baby. Get in there. Ah, there we go. Fish number 3. I was literally just sitting there trying to tie a fresh rig up, and I wasn't really paying attention, if I was honest. And next thing, Ty's given me a little bit of a tap, and you got a bite, mate. So there's the 3rd bite, Mr. Chub. Lovely, lovely ooze chub, as you can see. Bit of a belly on this one, and yeah, well happy. We couldn't have asked for any more, really, to be fair. And right, I'm going to get them back, and let's see how we get on from here on in. Right, so on the downstream rod, if I'm fishing 2 rods, it's exactly the same rig, except for I've got a lead on it, a straight lead. Today I'm using 1.5 ounces, I think it is. I mean, there's a good depth of water in this particular swim. I've probably got 6-7 foot, and I like to feel it sort of drop down to the bottom then, if you like, just to make sure I'm not in any chuff or a weed bed or whatever. So I'm fishing a straight lead, exactly the same rig with the bolt and run kit, the small bolt and run kit, and again it's a smoke shield hook link. But the only thing that's different with this, I've got a little tiny, well, I've got a 12mm cube of meat on, and incorporated with some of the new meat stops that we've just brought out. So to go in sync with the cubers, we've got the meat stops in both sizes, so basically 12 and 23mm. As you can see, small and large, complement the meat cubers absolutely brilliantly. There's no faffing, no mucking about, and I've got one of my rigs here tied up. As you can see, all I do is I tie a little tiny quick stop to a minute hair, as you normally would do, and it sits below the hook perfectly. You push the meat stop, sorry, the quick stop, you push the quick stop through one of the inserts, and in the top, as you can see, hopefully you can pick this up on camera, as you can see, the little quick stop goes into a tiny slot right on the very top. So it's not visible at all. It's nice and flush, and it's so simple and easy. And if you probably better suited from my point of view, if you've got like an extra couple of foot of water on and the river's really pulling through. I mean, the lads on these bigger rivers, it suits them ideally. They've got so much more current and pull on the river. It suits that style of fishing absolutely perfectly. So if I've got extra water on and I'm sort of fearful of my bait being pulled off, then these are now what I use, my go-to then, if you like, with the extra water on. And 2 sizes, small and large, that complement the meat cubers. Well, I've just moved into my second swim. The first swim, I've had 3 fish out of it, luckily, and it's gone a little bit quiet, but I've just decided to come up into another swim and just have an hour or so or whatever I need to up here. But before I cast out, I just wanted to show you another little trick that I do when I'm fishing my luncheon meat. It's a very old school carp orientated idea then, if you like, and it's just a little stringer. So just PVA string, sometimes I only put 1 bit on. It's just an extra little bit that will dissolve down near my hook bait as a little freebie. So as you can see, I've got three pieces of broken meat on a piece of PVA string, and I just literally loop it, put the loop over the hook, and yeah, let's get her out there and see whether we can get one more bite. This wind has been killing us today, to be fair. We're both frozen, but we've had some fish, so you know, I'm going to get it back out there and see whether we can get another one. Well, I'm still in my second swim. It's been very quiet. Nothing else has happened. So fortunately for me, I managed to catch 3 fish further down in the first swim this morning when we first got here, which was a real bonus. You've seen the tactics I'm using. They're very, very simple tactics. So if you're out and about this winter, from now on, give them a go. You never know. I'm going to wrap this up. It's been freezing, we're both cold wind, and yeah, we'll see you next time.